Right now, as you're watching this, the universe around you is completely silent. Not because there's nothing out there. Scientists estimate our galaxy alone holds over 100 billion planets, and billions of those sit in the habitable zone where life could exist. Yet, in over 60 years of listening with our best radio telescopes, humanity has never detected a single confirmed signal from another civilization. Not one message, not one flicker of alien technology, nothing but static. Scientists call this unsettling contradiction the Fermi Paradox. If the universe is so vast and so old, where is everyone? Scientists even built a formula to estimate how many communicating civilizations should exist right now, called the Drake equation, factoring in the number of stars, the fraction with planets, the fraction capable of supporting life, and the fraction that develop intelligence and technology. Depending on the numbers you plug in, some versions of this equation predict our galaxy should be filled with thousands, even millions, of advanced civilizations. And yet, silence. For decades, the most popular answers were hopeful. Maybe life is rare. Maybe intelligence is rare. Maybe we're simply too early or too far apart to ever meet. But there's another answer, one that isn't hopeful at all. It's called the dark forest theory, and it comes from a simple but chilling idea. What if everyone is out there and everyone is hiding on purpose?
The theory starts with two basic assumptions about any civilization advanced enough to reach the stars. The first is survival. Every civilization wants to keep existing. That's the one universal law that applies to every species, on every planet, in every corner of the galaxy. The second is more disturbing. No civilization can ever be completely sure that another civilization is friendly, because the distances between stars are so vast that there's no time to ask, and no way to verify an answer before it's too late. Put those two assumptions together and the universe starts to look less like an empty field and more like a dark forest at night. Imagine you are a hunter, alone, standing in a forest with no light. You hear a twig snap somewhere in the trees. You don't know what made that sound. It could be a rabbit. It could be another hunter just as scared as you are. It could be a predator far more powerful than anything you've ever faced. You have exactly one choice to make, and you have to make it fast. Do you call out into the darkness to find out who's there? Or do you stay silent, and if you see movement, do you shoot first before it sees you? In the dark forest theory, every civilization in the universe is that hunter, and every other civilization is a sound in the trees. Here's why staying silent, or striking first, becomes the only logical choice. Imagine two civilizations detect each other's signals across the galaxy. Neither one can know if the other is peaceful explorers or a threat that could wipe them out in an instant. Even if one side is genuinely friendly, they have no way to prove it, because any message, any gift, any offer of peace could just as easily be a trick used to lower the other side's guard. This is called the chain of suspicion. It doesn't matter if you are kind. It doesn't matter if they are kind. What matters is that neither of you can ever be certain, and in a universe where a single mistake could mean total extinction, uncertainty itself becomes the deadliest weapon. Then there's the problem of technology explosion. A civilization only a few hundred years behind another isn't just weaker, it's virtually defenseless, the same way a group with spears would be defenseless against a modern army. Because technology can advance so quickly, a civilization that reveals itself today has no idea if the one listening is decades behind or centuries ahead, quietly capable of ending them without warning. So, the safest move, the only rational move, is to stay hidden. Turn off your signals. Go dark. And if you ever detect another civilization broadcasting its location to the stars, the safest response isn't a greeting. According to this theory, it's a strike, launched quietly before they even know you exist. This is why the theory is named after a forest, and not a desert or an empty field. A desert is empty because there's genuinely nothing there. A forest at night only feels empty. In reality, it could be packed with hunters, all of them silent, all of them watching, all of them too afraid to make the first move. Under this theory, the silence of the universe isn't proof that we're alone. It might be proof that everyone out there has already learned this lesson the hard way, and we are one of the only civilizations left broadcasting our location to anyone who might be listening. Some scientists connect this silence to another chilling idea called the Great Filter, some barrier so difficult to survive that almost no civilization makes it past. The dark forest. Theory offers a different, more active explanation. Maybe civilizations don't fail to survive the filter. Maybe they survive by learning to disappear, and we have been broadcasting. For over a century, radio signals from Earth have been leaking into space at the speed of light, carrying old television broadcasts, military radar, and radio programs, forming an expanding sphere of noise now over 100 light-years wide. On top of that, in 1974, and again in more recent years, scientists have deliberately aimed powerful messages at other star systems, describing our location, our biology, and our technology, hoping someone friendly might respond. This practice is called METI, or Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and it remains one of the most controversial ideas in modern science. Some researchers argue it's a harmless long shot since any reply would take centuries to arrive. Others, including physicist Stephen Hawking, warned that deliberately announcing our location to an unknown universe could be one of the most dangerous decisions our species has ever made. There are strange signals that make this theory even harder to dismiss. In 1977, a radio telescope detected a burst of energy so unusual that the astronomer monitoring it circled the data and wrote a single word beside it. Wow. To this day, that signal has never repeated, and no one has ever definitively explained where it came from. Was it a natural cosmic event, a satellite reflection, or was it a single brief moment where the forest wasn't quite as silent as we assumed? Of course, the dark forest theory is exactly that, a theory, not a proven fact. Many scientists push back against it, pointing out that it assumes every civilization thinks in the same cold, survival-first logic that humans sometimes do, when intelligence elsewhere in the universe might value cooperation over paranoia. Others argue that hiding may not even be possible, since any civilization advanced enough to travel between stars would already be detectable through the sheer amount of energy it uses. But even as a thought experiment, the theory forces us to ask an uncomfortable question. If we ever do detect a signal out there in the dark, one clearly artificial, clearly intelligent, clearly aimed at us, what should we do? Answer back and risk revealing exactly where we are, or stay silent and risk missing the only contact our species will ever have. Maybe the scariest part of the dark forest theory isn't the idea that something dangerous might be out there. It's the idea that the silence we've always found comforting, the quiet emptiness of the night sky, might actually be the sound of every civilization in the universe holding its breath at the exact same time for the exact same reason. So the next time you look up at the stars and feel like you're staring into nothing, ask yourself this. What if you're not looking at an empty forest? What if you're just the only one who hasn't learned to stay quiet yet? If this made you look at the night sky differently, subscribe, because next time we're going even deeper into the dark.